We've talked on the YouTube channel at nauseum at this point, guys, about Gears of War and just this series as a whole, guys, what it means to me. It's very close to my heart, and I am really excited, not only about the continuation and the, everything that gets added to Gears 5 at this point, but really looking ahead to Gears 6, because obviously, guys, I love Gears 5, but not everybody else in the community does love it, right? And so I think it's important that we talk about Gears 6 now and some of the things that we would like to see in Gears 6 that maybe are changed from Gears of War, from Gears 5, and things that maybe they can keep moving forward that seem to be successful. So let's talk about it. I want to talk, guys, in this segment about the top 5 things that we want in Gears 6. And when I say we, I mainly am talking about myself, but I know some of you may share similar, top things that you would want changed or different in Gears 6. And for those of you who don't agree, let me know what you guys want in the comment section down below. So number 1, guys, for me is we got in Gears 5, we got a semi-open world setting. For me in Gears 6, I'd like a full open world, a completely open world where we are able to completely dive in to this world in a major way, that being like able to explore the Gears world. And look, at first I was very skeptical in Gears 5, even having a semi-open world. I kind of was a little bit concerned about it, just because in the past we've had all these Gears of War titles that were, linear experiences, and we loved those, right? But changing it up and having a semi-open world, I loved it so much that now I want to explore more. So a full open world, even if that were to mean that the game's delayed or takes more time, I'm down, because I would like to play a full open world and be able to explore as much as we want, especially after beating the campaign once or twice. You're able just to kind of roam around and go at your own pace. So that's number 1. Number 2, guys, is for me personally, I love Kate Diaz as a character. She's an incredible character. I like her arc that she's had, and I think she really fits into this franchise very well. However, for me, I would like to see the torch pass back to JD or Marcus Phoenix as far as being the playable characters. I think that having, Kate as maybe one of the options, it would be fine. In the main story, this is, guys, I think it's great playing as her, but I think that we didn't get enough time playing as JD. We had, of course, Gears 4, which we played as JD, and it kind of felt like Marcus was passing the torch onwards to JD, and then I thought JD was going to have we were going to be playing as JD moving forward, but then he passes that torch on to Kate Diaz, and then, of course, in Gears 5, they kind of made JD out to be somewhat of a douchebag, and so I didn't really like that they kind of moved his character development in that direction. So in my opinion, I'd like to play as JD again, or even Marcus, kind of one last hurrah. I think they should give us an option between playing Kate, JD, or Marcus in Gear 6. That would be kind of something I think is important, especially because, as this series continues, you don't know how many more games we've got to play as, Marcus. Is he's going to die in one of these games? Or, JD, what's going to happen? Obviously, at the end of Gears 5, spoilers, guys. If you haven't played Gears 5, you definitely should at this point. But, is canon going to be Dell surviving, or is it going to be JD surviving? So I think there's a lot of question marks there, but I would love to at least be able to play Marcus or Kate Diaz, in my personal opinion. Number 3, guys, getting away from the story into, more of the co-op modes. I would like to see, I would love to see some added co-op modes, in my personal opinion, some new co-op modes, whether that be like the escape mode or, something completely new. I like new modes all the way around. So really, when we're talking multiplayer, we're talking about co-op, I like to see new modes, generally speaking. One of the modes I really want to see come back, though, guys, is Beast Mode. I know that's more of like a multiplayer mode, obviously, kind of a role reversal of Horde mode, where you're playing as the Swarm, and I love that concept. I want to see that return in Gears 6, guys. Even if they made it somewhat, they change it up a little bit, I would be totally down if they were to kind of change up the way in which we play Beast Mode. But I think bringing that back, that was such a beloved mode that I think adding that as a part of the Gear 6 arsenal, I think would be a great idea. And like I said, new co-op modes would be awesome as well. I love escape mode, guys. I think even adding on to something like that, or maybe continuing with a completely different mode, would be a great idea. And it seems like Gears and the Coalition does a really good job of adding some really interesting and intriguing game modes. So I definitely trust them with that. And then number 4, guys, this is bringing us into the esports realm of Gears of War. For me personally, one of the big things that I want to see in Gears 6 is a change up in the Gears esports scene, from the standpoint where it seems up to this, for a while now, it's felt like pretty much since Gears 4, we have had the esports scene has been primarily played on escalation. And I love escalation as game mode. I think it's a great creative game mode. But I think for the sake of building the fan base and building the, the spectators that are watching Gears esports, just for the simplicity of it, I think having execution as the esports, game mode is really important, because it's a lot easier to follow. Escalation, even though it's not extremely, complex, it's not as simple as just having one life. And if you think of other games, guys, out there in the esports realm, CSGO, even Call of Duty, some of these other games, CSGO has one game mode. It's basically search and destroy, which is essentially what execution is. Execution, I love the style of it because you get one life, and then of course you go by rounds, and you have the power weapons on the field, and it kind of feels like Halo. It feels like like Slayer, or it feels like Call of Duty Search and Destroy. And I really like that concept. I think it would be really good for the spectators of Gears of War, and I think it would be really helpful, in my personal opinion, with continuing to grow out the Gears of War scene. And then, of course, guys, the fifth and final top thing, and obviously, guys, look, these are 5 things, right? There's a ton of things out there that we, of course, could go through. We could probably spit off like 50 different things that we would like to see different or continued in Gear 6. But the 5th one for me, guys, is having monetization changes in Gear 6. So look, Gears of War 4, okay, monetization in it was there, obviously. And I think, guys, when we think of monetization, we're thinking of like the different monetization tactics that companies put in, we as consumers don't like them typically, just because they a lot of times are deceptive to the consumer. They end up getting us to spend money. And a lot of times we don't get the things that we want. And then if there's pay to win, schemes out there and things of that nature, it just is a very bad thing. And so with monetization, though, guys, the changes I want to see more earnable items, in my opinion, more earnable stuff versus that of things that you can buy. I'm the kind of guy, guys, that I like to earn stuff. And then when you're in lobbies and such, whether it's your title, your emblem, whatever it might be, you have things that have shown what kind of work you're putting in. And obviously the re-up system, they didn't really have any re-up, logos or anything in Gears 5. That's something else that, I would love to see change. But I mainly want to see, like, as far as the monetization, it's going to be there. And I think we can all agree that there's going to be monetization most likely. A lot of developers out there, guys, have to do it in order for, their companies to survive and for the games to be able to continue moving forward. If you think about it, games, if they were to go up with inflation, they wouldn't be $60 anymore. They would be well above $60 to buy the game, but they haven't. And so there has to be other ways that these companies are making money. So from a business perspective, I get it. But at the same time, I don't like it where it's deceptive to the consumers. I don't like the idea, so much stuff is behind a paywall. So many different, pieces of, whatever, cosmetic items and different, characters and things of that nature. I like to earn stuff. And even if it's, even if you have to grind to get there, I think it's all worth it if you're able to do that. I don't like this idea where I can either grind to get something or I can just pay for it and pay a certain amount of money to get it, or somebody else can. It just eliminates the, the prestige of those characters that you're unlocking, or the skins, or whatever it is, guys. And Gears of War has always done such a good job with the different skins on your weapons and, all the different camos and all the, characters and such. They do such a good job with that. But when a lot of it's behind a paywall, that's a problem, right? And I never really got caught up in paying a ton of money for, microtransactions and such, and paying a bunch of money for, whatever it might be. Usually the things that I would buy would be like the DLC, right? The downloadable like maps and such that you could get. But I never really got into buying like different characters and things of that nature. So I want there to be a different system moving forward. Personally, I would love to see a system where there is obviously things that you can buy in store that would be like for your characters, but there's a very there's a huge difference between the things that you're buying and the things that you're earning. The things you're earning, there's real emphasis there that these are people who are coming back to the game over and over again. And the things that you're buying are more just like cosmetic items that are for your characters and such that, you know, that are cool, but at the same time aren't going to necessarily give someone an advantage, or they're not going to look cooler than the things that I'm earning in game. And that goes all the way to, you know, to the re-ups and to just everything, the grind, guys. It's so much better to like earn stuff than it is to just purchase something and then you have it. But at the end of the day, you already paid $60 for the game. I think that there needs to be a better monetization structure in Gears 6, in my opinion. But I'd love to hear your guys' top 5 things that you want to see in Gears 6. Let me know in the comment section below. And for more Gears 6 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.